Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the whole flock of Israel. You Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Got to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, the Most High, the Heavenly Father. His Hebrew name is Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah, not Abba, not Yahuwah. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua, not Yahusha. It's Yahweh Shah. So we got to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rekah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops and elders of Great Millstone, who well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether accepted or not. In a sincere salutation to all the Akim, pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world. Shed light to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the outward who are listening learning. Ifu sisters who are listening learning. I'm Isaiah from Jim Solano, Camp Prophet of Doom, coming into another lesson of truth, facts, faith, and edification. The data edification, Lord, will just be edified. And I saw this clip from this guy, Richard Wolff, and he said something that was very prophetic, which clearly he don't understand. He don't even know what he said. So I just want to play this, the first part of this clip. This video is 56, 57 minutes. So listen to the whole video. But I just want to play the beginning of this, because what he said in the beginning is heavy, man. And so Lord willing, this be edifying. Then I got another clip I want to play, but I want to get this first one. So I saw this, I was listening to this, and he said, right here you see global capitalism, the old Cold War fades, a new one expands. Now what he said about this old Cold War. So check this out. Lord wouldn't be edified. Turn this volume down.
Friends, to another Global Capitalism presentation. This one for March 2025. Our topic today is the two Cold Wars, the old one fading and the new one emerging.
So he said the old Cold War faded and the new Cold War emerging.
What it all means for the U.S., for Europe, and for the world. We are at a momentous moment in U.S. history and global history. Real basic tectonic shifts are underway in the geopolitics we all have to live with. And I want to talk about that as our main focus. But before I do, I want to say a word about the extraordinary attack on federal employees being undertaken by the Trump-Musk administration.
So all I want to play is the video fire, because I listened to the whole 56 minutes. He's going in on Babylon the Great. I'm going to play this one more time because he said something that's prophetic, which he have no clue, he have no understanding of.
Welcome, friends, to another Global Capitalism presentation. This one for March 2025. Our topic today is the two Cold Wars, the old one fading and the new one emerging. And what it all...
That's all I want. The old Cold War is fading and a new one is emerging. This is what he's talking about. This is Ezekiel 38:1. And it reads, and the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, which is Turkey, of the north quarter and all his bands. It said Persia, Iran, Ethiopians, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Be thou prepared for thyself and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou guard unto them. He said the old Cold War, one more time. This is the Lord said he put hooks into the jaws of Russia. And then this guy just said this, and he don't realize what he said.
Welcome, friends, to another Global Capitalism presentation. This one for March 2025. Our topic today is the two Cold Wars, the old one fading and the new one emerging.
And that's what's happening, man. The new Cold War. So again, Ezekiel 38:4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws and will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen. Now, in the different translation, basically say the same. This is the NLT. I will turn you around and put hooks in your jaws to lead you out with your whole army. NLT, NET, I will turn you around, put hooks into thy jaws, and bring you out, same with all your army. So this is them. He just said the old Cold War went out and a new Cold War is emerging, which is the Soviet Union, which is the Medes. Now, when you go to Isaiah, this is Isaiah 13. In verse 17, it reads, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which should not regard silver, and as for gold, they should not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And the Lord said the Edomites were going to come on us, and they weren't going to spare children, the old or the young, right? Well, the Lord used the Edomites to destroy Edomites. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when power overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, meaning America going to be destroyed with fire. This is Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. It reads, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So let me get two more precepts here. This is Revelation 9 and 11. Revelation 9 and 12. It reads, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. So the first world war passed, the second world war, and the third one is approaching. Revelations 11:14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And as it said in Isaiah 9 and 5, the battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this new battle shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Now, let me drop this. So he just mentioned what the Lord said in Ezekiel 38 about the Lord going to put hooks into the jaws of the Soviet Union and turn them back to he putting the hooks in the jaws of the Russians today, the Medes today, because the land of the Medes, the Russians occupying that land. So the Lord putting the spirit on these Russians today, Gog, the land of Gog, Magog, and turn them back to the old Soviet Union. Now, NATO was created to destroy the Soviet Union. Let me drop this. Let's get this here. Let's get this. Bear with me here. Can't make this up, man. And there's so many videos about it. Look at this. America is collapsing like Rome. Richard Wolff. Look at this. So let's play some of this.
We live in a time of decline. And then when an empire declines, which is something we hadn't gone through because empires don't decline very often. But let me tell you from the history books, a little bit we can tell, it's not fun to be in a declining empire. Much more fun when the empire's going up, which was the last century or a century and a half of this country, the ride up. We are now on the ride down. China is winning. We are losing.
Now, this is a thing that he said in the first video that's titled Global Capitalism, the old Cold War fades and new Cold War expands. What he said is the new Cold War is going to be with China in the first video, which is 56 minutes. I listened to the whole video. That's wrong. The new Cold War is as the old Cold War, which is going to be with Russia. The old it's the same people, man. So he said in the video, in the first one, global capitalism, the old Cold War fades, a new Cold War expands. It's with the Russians. And he said in that video, the new Cold War is going to be with China. No. Now, as a new superpower emerging, China is the monetary and Russia is the military. Just how you got America, Babylon the Great, the harlot. You got EU. EU is the monetary, NATO is the military, right? And the Vatican is the religion. Well, China and Russia is their own power now. But he said the new Cold War is going to be with China. No, it's going to be with Russia. It's going to be with Russia. China is there. But this is about the Lord putting the hooks in Gog and turning them back. So let's play some of this. Let's run this back. And let's see, hey, hold on. I got to get this. 2 precepts, man. Because this is beautiful. Because the Lord is using Edomites to bring out the truth about the elites, man. This is Psalms 64 in verse. And remember, this is what they did to us. Let's start at this Psalm 64 and 2. I got to get all this because this is what the so-called white man did dealing with the elites. This is what they did to us, man. And they did a diligent search, as the scriptures say. Hide me from the secret counsel of the workers of iniquity, who, it say, from the insurrection of the workers, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword. This is what they do. They pass laws. Psalms 94 and 20 say they frame a mischief by law. In Wisdom of Solomon 2, they say, let their strength be the law of justice. So through their laws, when they say he whet his tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. So this is what they do. They pass these different laws, these draconian measures, these statutes. This is what Esau do. Suddenly, it reads, Salakia, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. See, this is how they destroy our people secretly. Secretly, they destroyed our people with crack, but it didn't work, right? AIDS, cancer, it didn't work. All the other diseases that's out there. Those are things that was done secretly. Just like the CDC. Secretly, they housing diseases for what? You got predatory lending, redlining, everything that Esau did. It was all to secretly destroy Jake, man. See, this devil came at us mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Well, the Lord is breaking them down now, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And it's happening from the inside out. Because going back to Genesis, which we read Saturday, when it said the Lord put enmity between the Edomites and the Israelites, thou shalt bruise his head and they shall bruise thy heel. So Yahweh Shah is bruising the so-called white man's heel now, man. And this is Achilles' attendant wound that they will never recover from. When it say in Revelation 13 that the beast had the wound and did live, and his wound was healed, this is a wound that cannot be healed. This is why Yahweh said in Amos 9, cut them in the head, all of them. And I will slay the least of them with the sword. See, this is a wound that the so-called white man can't come back from. So it reads, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. No, verse 4, Psalm 64 and 4, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. The perfect is the Israelites. They got to come at us secretly. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune the land snares privily. The snare that they lay privily is drugs. And Elder Malcolm told you about how the so-called white man took a whole truckload of guns and put it in Chicago, right in the middle of the hood, and left the back door unlocked, man. So Jake stumbled upon these trucks one day, these trains, these cargo trains, and opened up the doors, and it's just full of guns, man. This is how guns get in the hood, man. How the hell Jake got switches on their guns, and Glock said they don't make switches. So what Jake get the switches from for the guns? Why is there scammers out here? Where you get where can we get a scammer from? Jake don't own warehouses that make fucking scammers, but you can go on Amazon and buy a scammer for like $1,500. Who making the scammers? Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians don't make switches for guns. They don't have the tools. They don't have the capability to make it. You got to have materials for this. We don't control no resources. So where are the scammers? They tell me, scammers. Where do scammers come from? How can you get a scammer? Niggas don't make scammers. Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians don't make Glock switches and scammers, man. So where's it coming from? But they call it the black market, right? They call it the black market. Who controls the black market? The so-called white man. Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Asians don't have no access to controlling no resources, man. Yeah, no guns. It say they encourage themselves in the evil matter. They communal land snares privily. The standardized tests in school. These tests. But we the smartest on the planet. But then they say, Jake dumb because they can't even pass. Man, listen. That's because out these children, like Martin said in the show, and they busting these kids at school and they ain't getting no sleep, man. And it all comes from that background of coming from a home where you don't got a father and a mother. That's stress on the kids, man. When there's no father and mother in the home, our Jakes grow up different, man. They grow up different. And 7 out of 10, they're going to be thugs on the block, man. And they tell you that in Isaiah 51. It said our people they at the top of all the streets like a wild bull in the net. What Jake doing on the corner? Selling dope, gang banging. Because most of the time, Jake don't got the father and the mother in the home. And Jake's that dude, they grow up different, man. They ain't trying to be no damn basketball player or superstar. Jake trying to be a heart surgeon or some other type higher intellectual, not playing down football and basketball. But at the same time, ain't nothing wrong with that. Neither. It's just you see the difference in Jake that grew up with a father and a mother. Esau made sure that didn't happen by giving women's liberal rights. Right? What the scriptures say, gave out women liberty to gad abroad. So they don't need a man in the house. So they pushed out women to giving them Section 8 HUD, Habitat, housing, Social Security, disability, all that. It first went to the so-called white woman, but then they destroyed us by giving it to the so-called black woman. And then told her that she didn't need a man in the house. She can raise the kids by herself. And while she at work or trying to get her PhD or Bachelor of Associates, the kids is being taught by an Edomite. Especially now with social media, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, tweet, twat. It done destroyed these teenagers, man, these kids, man. So now you got young girls. There's young girls in high school, middle school, that ain't never had a man, but they dykes. They part of the rainbow community. They ain't never been with a man. And off the rip, soon they jump off the porch, they playing pussy. How does that work? Because the so-called white man has accomplished a diligent search, man. Because they know that you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians are the chosen people of the Lord. And their job, their whole job is to destroy us, man. This is Psalm 64 and 5. They encourage themselves in the evil matter. Their communal land snares. Privately, they say, who shall see them? They control the laws. They control the curriculum, the school. They control everything. They said in Wisdom Solomon 2, their infamy of education. They search out iniquities. They search out iniquities. Well, how can we destroy these Jakes? How can we destroy these so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians without putting our hands on it? How can we destroy them secretly? They showed you the movie, the damn movie of Clone Tyrone, man. They putting it in the food. It's in the chemical marijuana. Yeah, they showed, Esau put the movie out, Clone Tyrone, and showed you this how we destroying you niggas. We gave you free guns. Now niggas can get a marijuana card, just smoke all the weed you want to smoke. Oh, you can ride around with a whole ounce on you now. Destroying Jake. He searched out iniquities. How women can commit adultery on their husbands. And if the husband got money, they can take half of your shit. And then you still got to give them alimony every month. And if you got a child from them, you got to give them more money. The so-called white man did that, man. He searched out iniquities, man. They searched out iniquities. They accomplished a diligent search. And who do they use? They use Jake. They use Jake, man. The Lockheed Martins and the Boeings and the NASA's. It's Jake, man. They use Jake. This nigga, Anthony Fauci, said that African Americans and Latinos are vulnerable. But you should be happy because we had a so-called black woman to help us create the juice. Her name is Kismakia Quebec, which I think the bitch is Eunice Rivers back in Reincarnation. Because it was Eunice Rivers that the so-called white man sent to the hoods to convince the men to do the Tuskegee experiment. It was Eunice Rivers. And then they're using Kismakia Quebec to say take the juice because a so-called black woman helped create it. It ain't that many years in past, but I think the bitch is I think Kismakia Quebec is Eunice Rivers in Reincarnation. That's just my thought on it. But they're using, this is what he do. And the apostles been saying this for years. When they push that C-hip, they're going to use LeBron James. They're going to use Stephen Curry. Who do they use to get you to say, go take the juice? Who they use? They use John Legend on the Walgreens commercial talking about this is our shot to get back to normal. They use Mil X and Juvenile to talk about juice that thing up. They used Tyra Banks. Oh, man, I was so disappointed. But you can't be. They used Walter Payton and Bill Russell to push the juice, to get you to go get the juice and all the different juices that came behind it, right? The B juices, the booster juices. They said, go get the juice and get all the other ones that follow. They used Bill Russell and Walter Payton, and both of them niggas is dead back in the spiritual realm because you know they took it. The apostle Ben said they're going to use our people to get us to take it. That's in Psalms 10. He crouched and humbled himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. And some of the so-called white man strong ones is with Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, LeBron. They're going to use them to make you take the C-hill, man. And Jake ready right now to take it. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. Here's the point. So I want to read that because they've been trying to kill us for generations. They told you in the Miriam Knox and Ron Patton interview, they know that if they know that they are from the house of Edom, but they are going to pretend to be from the house of Jacob. So how can they pretend to be us? They had to take the land first. They had to take the land, and then they can push that the Israelites went back home. But prophecies say otherwise. Anyway, but God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Why is it saying this in verse 7? Psalm 64 and 7. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Because they've been shooting at us for a long time. Now it's Yahweh's turn, man. Again, on King of New York, he said, you got fat while everybody starved. It's my turn now. The Lord say, but God said, shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly, should they be wounded? So we're watching the wound of the so-called white man because what? So they shall make their own tongue and fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Listen to this.
At a time of decline, and then when an empire declines, which is something we hadn't gone through because empires don't decline very often. But let me tell you from the history books, a little bit we can tell, it's not fun to be in a declining empire. Much more fun when the empire is going up, which was the last century or a century and a half of this country, the ride up.
And you see they showed right here, he showed you what it was at. Right here, the Great Depression. Let me run it back one more time so I can pause it. Let me show you.
We live in a time of decline. And then when an empire declines, which is something we hadn't gone through because empires don't decline very often. But let me tell you from the history books, a little bit we can tell.
See it? See it? The Great Depression. The crash of 29, man. This when the so-called white man began to fall, man. The crash of 29.
It's not fun to be in a declining empire. Much more fun when the empire is going up, which was the last century or a century and a half of this country, the ride up. We are now on the ride down. China is winning. We are losing.
Richard Wolff, the famous economics professor from the University of Massachusetts, has come out and said that the fall of America is upon us. Now, is this true? To understand the argument, we need to rewind to the Vietnamese War. Do you remember what happened in what they call the Land of the Dragon?
Just to give you the context, the United States lost the war in Vietnam. When I say that in my classes, my students look at me, they never heard such a thought. America, as they know from the comic books they read as children, only wins wars. It doesn't lose wars.
Well, if we read through the history books, we find out that it's true. In 1973, American troops were forced to leave Vietnam, and in 1975, the Communist Party of North Vietnam captured Saigon, marking the official win for the communists. But this was not the only war that America lost. In 2021, the US withdrew its forces from Afghanistan after 20 long years in the country, fighting against the Taliban, who now run Afghanistan. As Wolff said, that's a pretty good sign that America lost. In Iraq, it was a similar story where the US were forced to withdraw in 2011. These are not the types of things that you generally hear from an empire at the peak of its powers. Normally, they can just easily win and have their own way.
Let me give you a couple of more, just bits of getting what decline means. Last week, something happened on the part of a country called Indonesia. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a remarkable country in Asia made up of 18,000 islands in the Pacific. It's a huge country. The population of Indonesia is 280 million people. Makes it one of the largest countries in the world. Let me remind you, the population of the United States is 330 million. 280 isn't that far less than 330. It's an enormous thing what they did. They joined the BRICS.
Mm-hmm.
They joined a full partner of the BRICS.
BRICS is an acronym that refers to a group of 5 major emerging economies. You've probably heard of them: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And now that I is a double I because Indonesia have joined. They have aligned themselves together to collaborate with each other on areas such as trade, investment, economic growth, and political coordination. In a way, you can think of it as them coming together and joining forces as a form of combating the power of the United States and their allies. BRICS, however, is not just a small alliance, it's a lot more powerful than you think. The core of BRICS is the C, China. China has a population of 1.4 billion people. Second biggest player is India, which has a population of 1.45 billion people. Russia's population is 145 million and is the largest country by land mass. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but they have a pretty strong military too. If we add all of the BRICS population together, including the newly joined Indonesia Indonesia, they account for 45% of the world's population. The United States population is about 341 million, or 4% of the world. That's a big discrepancy.
In the words of, Mickey Mouse, uh-oh.
Now, if you think that this is an unfair comparison because it's one country versus an alliance of countries, okay, fair enough. Well, let's compare it to the G7. The G7, made up of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States, has a combined population of 777 million people. This accounts for 9.7% of the world's population. Again, 9.7% versus 45% does not look very strong.
Those odds are not so good, no matter how you cut it.
Okay, well, you might argue that this is just population. It's not economic might. It's not financial capability. Okay, fair point. Let's look at that. The way we measure economic strength is through what's called GDP, Gross Domestic Product, aka how much a country produces in a given year, how much output they give.
Okay, so if you take the BRICS together now, they are about 35%, maybe a bit more, total output of the world. If you add up each of those countries' total output in a year, and you add them up, they account for 36%, more or less, of the world's output.
Lesson on that.
Now let's compare that to the United States and its major allies. Those are called the G7. Okay, that used to be the dominant player of the world. That used to be what world trade meant, what they did. Together that's all of them, now account for about 28% of the world's output. Do you understand?
So in terms of output, GDP, the G7 produces less than the BRICS. They have a much smaller population and produce a decent amount less goods and services. That gives you a feel for how the world order might be changing. The once dominant nation of America and its allies is not as strong as it used to be.
Now, if you're looking to where the wealth is, you go east, not west.
Back in the day, if you were a
That's
poor
true.
third world nation and you needed money to build your infrastructure and grow your economy, there would be one country that you would call. If you needed to build a hospital or a road for transport or a school for education, you would get on the phone to a US diplomat or US business and say, hey, we need a loan here. We need your technology, or we need your resources or your know-how. But today, these third world nations are instead picking up the phone to an entirely different country.
Yep.
If you're a poor third world country, as we used to call them, and you need money for a build railroad, or you need to find places to sell your exports, you direct your diplomats first to go to Beijing, because that's where it's at. If you can't get a good deal there, well, you might go to London or Washington. But whatever you are doing, you're going to play them against each other. You're going to say to the Americans, oh, that's the best you offer? Let's go the other place, see what they offer. You want to know why most of the railroads being built in Africa today are being built by the Chinese? There's your answer. They got a better deal.
In Kenya, China funded the Standard Gauge Railway, which connects Nairobi to Mombasa. In Sri Lanka, China has invested in the development of the Hambantota Port and Colombo Port City. In Venezuela, China has helped build power plants and sign joint ventures with the state-run oil company. Across in Egypt, China are a key partner in the development of the new Suez Canal area. No matter what quote-unquote third world country you go to, no matter which continent, you will find the Chinese there.
Because you live in a country which is pretending to itself that none of this is going on. It's either never discussed, or we turn it around and we say, the Chinese are becoming aggressive in the world. Huh? They're doing what exactly we did. You know how the United States became a big, powerful country? By doing to Europe what the Chinese are doing to us. It's not new, it's not different. The emperor in Rome didn't suffer the way the average people did. The emperor in Persia or the emperor in Greece, it doesn't matter. All the empires show the same phenomena.
Right.
One more example, and then I'll stop and tell you what this all means. So 15 years ago, all the car companies said, hooray, here's how we hold on to our profits by making these private cars for everybody. And they all went to work to compete. And there was a winner. As of 3 years ago, one company figured out how to make the best quality electric cars and trucks at the lowest price, which is what competition is supposed to result. And I'm sure you all know the name of this company. It's the BYD Corporation. Let me do that again. B as in boy, Y as in yellow, D as in dog. BYD. Now, your faces give you away. You never heard of this place or this thing. What is it?
Of course, we all thought he was going to say Tesla. So why does Wolff say that BYD is winning the EV game? Well, they have found a way to make an electric car for a price of, well, let me ask you, how much do you think they sell this electric car for called the Seagull? $40,000 like the Tesla Model 3? $28K like the Nissan Leaf? No, BYD Seagull sells for $11,500. That is 1/4 of the price of Tesla's cheapest car. Now, to say that they're winning the EV race, that's a controversial statement, but if you go outside of the US, BYD cars are selling like hotcakes on a cold winter's day. Okay, in China, obviously BYD.
Hey, for this guy to say that, Richard Wolff is an economist, man. I've been watching this guy for a while, man. This guy, these people do their research, man. They do homework before they do these videos, before they speak. It's just like how we watch the apostles, or we'll watch elder bishops, different elders, and we watch them bring out lessons, right? Sometimes they quote the scriptures. Like Apostle Hall say, we're analyzing. Analytics. How you pronounce it? Salakia. Yeah, analytics. We watching. You do your homework. This guy know what he's talking about, man. Anyway.
Are at the #1 mark, having top EV sales charts in that country for several years. But expand out to Asia. In Thailand, they are the top selling electric vehicle brand. In 2024, the BYD Dolphin led the EV market with 13,000 units sold. In Australia, they only entered the market in 2022, and now nearly 1/4 of every EV sold there is BYD. In Brazil, BYD has successfully introduced both electric buses and passenger EVs into the country. In 2023, BYD's Dolphin became the best-selling electric car in Brazil. You see that these quote-unquote third world nations, let's take out Australia from that, but they're sourcing things from China because China can provide them what they want at the.
So let me read this. Job 15:5. For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choose the tongue of the crafty. Thy own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thy own lips testify against thee. And why is China perfecting this, man? Because it's prophecy. 2 Ezra 15:46. It reads, and thou, Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory, and art the glory of her person. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch. Why? Because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that thou might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always decided to commit whoredom with thee. But the thing is, they have advanced past Babylon. But this is the real thing. The elites is using China for the forerunner for how America will be. This is the forerunner for how America will be, man. So don't be fools. Don't be fooled. America will be ran like this. This China is just what they say, what they call it, the prototype. China is the prototype for America, man.
Most competitive price.
China is winning. We are losing.
Okay, now let's fast forward to what's happening in the current day. One of the most worrisome supply chain strangleholds over the West and over the United States is, without a doubt, China's near monopoly status of critical minerals. This past week, in breaking news, China suspended exports of 7 critical rare earths to all countries. Shipment stops, risking shortages for US defense and tech. Trump's next move was to sign an executive order on minerals, invoking the Defense Production Act to fast-track US mining, targeting copper, uranium, and rare earths. Here's quoted, "This is a gold rush for America's future. Nobody's stopping us." The American businesses that will help solve the supply chain issue are taking on some of the world's most pressing problems, And there's big opportunity here because right now there are 0, not 1, operational tungsten mines on US soil. The Defense Department now funds rare earth projects because tungsten is indispensable for military, and like I said, there are no active mines on US soil as we speak. There is huge opportunities for the companies that can revive this industry. This is the perfect time to talk about the sponsor of today's video, American Tungsten Corp, US ticker DEMRF. It could become one of the first tungsten producers on US soil and a leading one after a full decade of no tungsten mining whatsoever domestically. Think about the potential. 0 operational mines on US soil, and China has already made export bans. China achieved control of approximately 70% of global rare earth production and 85 to 90% of the processing capacity, creating a strategic chokehold on global supply chains. American Tungsten, ticker DEMRF, is looking to help balance this out and become the first tungsten producer on US soil. They are advancing a North American past producing mine in a region with minimal environmental and regulatory barriers compared to overseas competitors. The company's flagship asset used to be the 5th operational tungsten mine in the USA. The US Department of Energy classifies tungsten as a critical material. Tungsten has the highest melting point of any metal, making it indispensable for applications that require high heat resistance, durability, and strength. AKA, it's very important. Do your homework on American Tungsten. Okay, let's get back to the BYD American thing. Why don't we see BYD and Chinese vehicles in America? They're very common in the rest of the world, other countries, but not the USA. The answer to this question should be pretty obvious. The reason you don't see these cars in America is obviously because of the tariff slapped on the Chinese vehicles. It's very hard to compete when you pay 100% tax to Uncle Sam every time you sell a vehicle. One of the reasons why the American government needs to take so much money in the form of taxes and tariffs is because of this figure here. This graph shows you the United States total federal public debt. It simply refers to the amount of money the American government owes to other people. As of May 2023, it's a little outdated. The debt was $31.5 trillion. Today,
Which is a lie. So he's saying
2025, it is 36 trillion.
Which is a lie. It's 236 trillion. That's a lie.
Just 15 years ago, it was under $10 trillion, meaning that the debt has more than tripled in a decade and a half. If you told anyone back then how huge the debt would be today, I don't think they would have believed you.
There's a name for companies that have been for several years so deeply in debt that they don't make enough profit, ready, to service their debt. That is, to pay the interest and the portion they have to repay. Now, we have a special name in economics for them. I kid you not. I didn't make this up. Zombie corporations, because they're dead. They're economically defunct. You know how they manage to survive when their profits aren't enough to cover their debts? They take on more debt to pay the debt they couldn't otherwise cover. That makes them more zombie-ish next year than they were this year, which is what's happening.
So now, to sum it up in layman's terms, so I can understand, the same economic hitmen that America was sending to these other countries, the economic hitman now is coming to Babylon the Great. What they said, the chickens is coming home to roost, man. Hey, the Lord is cold, man. We talking about omnipotent, omnipotent, omnipresent, man. So now the economic hitman is in America. America spread too thin. They trying to defend Ukraine from China, allegedly. They trying to defend Taiwan from China, China, allegedly. They trying to defend Israel from Iran and the Houthis and the rebels, allegedly. It's all the elites, man. It tell you in Revelation 16 and 13 that these 3 unclean spirits, they go forth to who? The kings of the earth, to gather them, man. See, this is Yahweh Shema Shah playing chess. Jeremiah 51 and 7, behold, Babylon had been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Why is the nations drinking? Because the elites. The elites, man. But who control the elites? Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. This is all a game to destroy the people's mind, the confidence of the people. It's called problem, reaction, solution. And it's all conditioning you to prepare to take the chip, man. We will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone to his own country, for her judgment reaching into heaven and is lifted up to the skies. No matter how much money they print, QE, quantitative easing, they ain't, and they doing this on purpose, man. This was a plan that the elites had hundreds of years ago, man, to crash this system. We gotta take the gold away and create a fiat currency, which is a Ponzi scheme. Then we gotta go from the cash. They showed you it went from stamps to a stamp card, cash to a card, and then with the credit card. Then years later, now your car got a chip on it. Come on, man. The world have been conditioned through gradualism to prepare for the new world. See here, man.
So I was researching zombie companies in America. Now, it's important to note that Wolff's definition was slightly off. A zombie company is one that earns just enough money to continue operating and service the debt, but are unable to pay off their debt. So they can cover their debts, but they can do no more.
It's just like some young niggas, some young YN niggas come up to camp and tell us, oh, it was more Irish in slavery than Negroes and Latinos. Like, nigga, what? This what he said. Wolff is slightly off. No, he ain't. He's on point. But here's some young nigga can come on, some young dummy, Edomite can come on YouTube and say, oh, Peter Schiff, yeah, he's slightly off. Richard Wolff, Chris Hedges, they slightly off. But we talking about fucking economists, man. Like you got these niggas, and that spirit just stopped at 14.
More than that, they don't necessarily.
Salakia, it was at 1441. Salakia, 144. That's the spirit. So you got these little niggas now. This nigga Alizar gonna say the apostle need to slide over and step down because he the man. You got these white young niggas coming in. This is the same thing he's doing, talking about Richard Wolff slightly off. The man know what he's talking about, man. Nigga, you were just born in the fucking 2000s. But Richard Wolff is off. This man been around, man. Then saw decades of fucking Babylon the Great falling. The so-called white man, their rulership collapsing. But this is the arrogance of these young people today, man. Anyway.
Necessarily have to keep borrowing to pay the debt. According to a Federal Reserve estimate published in 2021, roughly 10% of companies in the US are considered zombie firms. The share of zombie firms has been increasing over time, said Bruno Albuquerque, an economist at the IMF. This has detrimental effects on healthy firms who compete in the same sector. Now, with the rise in interest rates that we've seen over the past couple of years, CNBC wrote that many of these zombie companies have gone bankrupt. In the first 9 months of 2023, 516 companies filed for bankruptcy, according to S&P Global Intelligence. It's a weird concept that companies have so much debt to pay that all the profit they make has to go into paying off the debt. Obviously, it's not a sign of a healthy business.
Bro, this is the elites playing chess with the people, man. Problem, reaction, solution. How the hell Brooks Brothers in the retail apocalypse collapsed? Come on, man. Stop. How the hell Sears collapsed? You would think these people got this money built up. They've been made so much money, but they transition their money to other businesses. Ain't no damn, oh, we got to close Sears. Oh, we got to close Bath and Body and Beyond. No, they transition to other businesses, man. They got too much money. How the hell Brooks Brothers closed? That was one of the first stores in the retail apocalypse 5-6 years ago. We talking about the original soup, the original soups, man. Stop that shit, man. This is how Esau played chess, and they put fear in the people, man. What should we do? Oh my God. Come over here. This is what you should do. Take this. What is this? Take this mark of the beast, you bitch, you.
Environment. So you have high corporate debt and extremely high government debt. The big question is, who owns the debt? The US government owes the debt. It pays the debt. Who are the people that are getting paid?
Well, let me start with the government, because if you thought the world was crazy before, wait till you get this. The two biggest
every country, I did it again. Hold on here, bear with me. Every country, damn it. Every country has a central bank in it, man. Every country. So, like, I got to pull this back up. Moving too fast. Got a little too excited. Every country has a central bank. So who controls the central banks? That's the thing you got to ask yourself. Who controls the central banks? There's a central bank in every country, man. Who controls the central banks? China does not control their own central bank, man. They don't control their own bank. Pull this back up again, Salakia. Moving too fast. The elites control the central banks, man. Hold on. I did something wrong here. Bear with me for a second. Let me drop this. I gotta get rid of this. Get rid of that. Bring this up. Bear with me here, Salakia. Got a little too excited just then. I can't help myself. All right.
Who's the debt? It pays the debt. Who are the people that are getting paid?
Well, let me start with the government, because if you thought the world was crazy before, wait till you get this.
And the people that own the debt is the elites. Amalek, man. Starting with the Oppenheimers. And then the Rothschilds. In that order, man. They the ones that own it, man. The globalist elites list. I just showed it to you time and time again. Oppenheimers and the Rothschilds, man. Then the Rockefellers.
Two biggest creditors of the United States government are Japan and China. Japan number one, China number two. A few years ago, it was the other way. China was number one, Japan was number two. The United States is the biggest debtor country in the world by countries.
Look at that. Look at that. See? And Japan won't get back for what America did with Fat Man and Little Boy. They won't get back, man.
Two. A few years ago, it was the other way. China was number one, Japan was number two. The United States is the biggest debtor country in the world by countries. The second biggest creditor of the United States as the biggest debtor is the People's Republic of China. Do you understand? The United States owes China $850 billion, roughly.
Now we are getting pretty deep into the rabbit hole. You're telling me for every tax dollar that is paid by the American citizen, whether that be from the salary that they earn to the tax that they pay on a loaf of bread, a portion goes to the People's Republic of China? Well, let's go to our good friend Google just to double check this. How much money does the United States owe China? says as of
Ain't
February
shit made in
2025,
America.
China holds approximately 768.6 billion of US debt, making it one of the largest foreign holders of US Treasury securities. China's holdings represents a significant portion of the total US national debt, which was around $8.6 trillion as of February 2025. Japan is the largest foreign holder of US debt, with holdings around
That's heavy.
1.1 trillion. So let's think about it. What does
Ooh, hold
owning the
on.
debt actually mean?
Hey,
It
that's why
just
it makes
means that
sense that Babylon trying to stay tight with Japan, man. It makes sense. Why they're trying to stay tight with Japan. But here are those, and they paid them back, allegedly paying them back to say we sorry. You know, we dropped Fat Man and Little Boy and destroyed hundreds of thousands of your people. We're sorry. That's cold. If it's true, it makes sense. That's why America, the only one that's stuck with America right now is South Korea and Japan, man. And Japan won't get back.
the United States owes China money. When you owe someone money, you have to pay it back as well as interest on the money owed.
Right,
So
right.
how does the US get this money to pay back what they owe to China? The answer to that one is easy. The US taxpayer, aka you.
Uncle Sam want you. Hey, that's
We live in a
so yeah. Let me go back to this. Let's drop that. Pull this here up. So as I was showing earlier, this guy mentioned prophecy, man, and not even understanding that he mentioned prophecy. So again with this.
Defense Department, Homeland Security. Welcome, friends, to another Global Capitalism presentation. This one for March 2025. Our topic today is the two Cold Wars, the old one fading and the new one emerging.
And the new one that's emerging is the same old Cold War mentality, that Cold War spirit that the Lord said in Ezekiel 38, that He's going to put hooks into the jaws of Russia, Gog, and turn them back to the old Soviet Union, which the reason why NATO was created. So as the Lord dismantling NATO, He's rebuilding the old Soviet Union, man. So I just want to show that. Because he just mentioned prophecy and don't even know it, man. But he said in the video, which again is 56-minute video, I watched the whole shit, that China is the new Cold War. No, they helping, but it's Russia, man. It's the same old Soviet Union rebuilt, re-strengthened, man, re-powered. But in the lesson, Russians, Gog, a better Edomite for destruction. Lord was edifying. You'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rikah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishop and elders, a great millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all Israel, whether accepted or not. And a sincere salutation to all the Akim pushing this truth and believing this truth with the four winds of the earth, the entire world, shedding light to the whole elect. Shalom to the wealth who are listening learning. If you sister will listen learning. This is Job 24 and 23. Do it be giving him to be in safety, where wrong he resteth? And the so-called white man has been in safety since 1619, man. Though it be giving him to be in safety, where wrong he resteth. But America was established in 1790. Was it 1770? What the shit is? July the 4th, 1776, right? So since 1776 to now, which these bounces at their 250 mark. So from 1776 to now is when Babylon the Great was established, and we are at their end wits. Do it be giving him to be in safety where only he resteth? Yet his eyes are upon their ways. The Lord been watching the whole time, the angels. They are exalted for a little while, but are gone and brought low. They are taken out of the way as all other, and cut off at the tops of the ears of corn. And if it be not so now, who will make me a liar and make my speech nothing worth? Hey, till next time I say Shalom. Wow, Bible Ball, the wife tuning in. May Yahweh Shema shall continue bless you in your houses. May the blessing of relation be upon your houses. Shalom.